Good evening. It's Evolutionary TV live here on Facebook from Evolutionary Healer Company page. I'm your host, Terry Earthwind Nichols, along with
Linda Vetrus Nichols
and
Gracie.
Princess Gracie.
Princess Grace, say hi.
This is a 12-day series that we're putting on for you at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight and the following 11 nights ending on January 2nd. We're going to be talking about some really stiff stuff here. Post-traumatic stress and complex stress and self-sabotage and fear, what fear means and how it can go away. Today, this first inaugural live is in the memory of our sweet fur baby and her brother, Colonel Marshall. And I hope he's watching right now from across the Rainbow Bridge.
Yep, sounds good. We're going to share a little bit with you from one of our clients, Jason, who has graciously allowed us to share this. He says, I don't fear change anymore. I believe that I'm accepting being uncomfortable and enjoying to be uncomfortable, because I believe that if I'm uncomfortable, that means that I'm changing, and I could use change as much as I fear change and hate the idea of change. I could use change. I've noticed that even with me feeling uncomfortable, I'm starting to feel safe. I don't feel pain today. This is the happiest I have ever been in years. And here you have a story about a pre-client before she became a client.
I was at a networking event some 7 years ago now, and I met a young woman, and in the course of that conversation, I said what I did, and in that conversation, she wanted to talk to me because she had had some very traumatic stuff that happened to her as a child that she's been dealing with all of her adult life, and it has affected many marriages, etc. And she was only at that time early 40s, late 30s. And I said, well, give me a phone number. Let me call you next week when it can be more confidential, and let's talk. Well, I did. And about 3 seconds into the conversation, she started crying and couldn't stop. And I said, let's try this again in a few days. So I did. And the same result. It was such a traumatic sexual event that happened to her at 9 years old. She couldn't talk about it. She was even in fear of the possibility of remembering it. And so we tried it yet a third time, and it didn't work. And I told her, you have my number now. Leave it in your cell phone, and you call me when you're ready, and we'll get rid of that. And I assured her then, as I assured her some year and a half later, about 19 months later, that we weren't going back to that memory. We're going back to a memory that drives the emotion of that memory, that she doesn't even remember. One Tuesday night, very, very late, about 19 months later, she called me. I don't care if I have to review that one more time. I can't do this anymore. I have just ruined yet another relationship. So I said, okay, let's do this Thursday night, because we were traveling. And so about 1 a.m, Thursday night, that 2 days later, we finished, and we found that lost missing memory. We call it an active block, but it's actually amnesic in its makeup. It's quite complex. And in doing so, we finished about 1:30 in the morning. Well, went to bed. About 6:15 that very morning, I get a text. I laughed at my wife Linda here, and I said, it's probably Terry doing something. So I looked at the text,
his daughter,
and it's from this lady. And all it said is I woke up pain-free. Thank you. Now, this woman, since 9 years old, has woken up every day of her life in pain, physical and emotional pain. That day was about 4 years ago now. and still no pain.
And a great relationship.
She's in an incredible relationship, about to get married. And I have every belief that it's going to work. That's what fear does to you. For those of you who are suffering with fear, you don't even want to go to bed at night because you don't want to wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, screaming with your loved one on the floor beside you to keep you from hitting her or him. We've helped people like that. We help people like that all over the world, 12 countries, 25 US states, my friends, in just 6 years. And it works every time. So this is day 1 of Evolutionary TV. And we're hoping that you're going to come back for days 2 through 12, because we're going to be talking some more about some stories of some of our clients and what happened and what can change for you. Linda?
Yep. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.